So I made $350 yesterday LPing on Meteora, 5 to 15 Solana per position, 4 coins with 1 small loss. They were all wide ranged with bid ask and spot, mostly -50 to -75%. And here is every single trade. So this is the Hunter ball, and this is the, I'm not even fully sure of the details, but the virus going around. And one of the big catalysts which caused this massive jump, which is actually only when I did enter, was Elon, the co-founder of Pump Fun, tweeting about it. That's one of the reasons why this seemed to hold a strong narrative, because I believe I was, with some friends who said that he never really tweets stuff like this, and he's kind of comparing the meme coin to kind of using prediction markets. And it's kind of like a new narrative, so I thought it would have a bit of strength behind it anyway, and that's kind of one of the main reasons to go in. I don't believe there was too much PvP either. That's another good sign. So I did actually do some smaller narrow positions, made some fees kind of early on in this range. But for this position which I had open overnight, it was 8 Solana, and as you can see, I went -70% range, covering this purple range using the really cool Meteora feature where you can see it on the graph. And most of this was in a bid ask. And, I did not want to go narrow on this. We had a massive run up. This is actually about 17 million, all the way from 4 million. And it's got this strong narrative, right? I think this tweet by Beefman, who if you don't follow, you should. He does a lot of breakdowns on tokens for trading, but also LPing. Basically said, if this token dies, it's just showing, again, more weakness in the meme coin market. And I kind of agree. And I think he does actually specify some of the PvP as well, but I'm guessing this coin just started winning. But I went with the wide bid ask as, if I'm doing something overnight and it's a new token, it's just had a very quick run up, I'm not going to be wanting to necessarily open spot. This could have been a spot position. I would have printed more, I'd imagine, but that would have come with a much higher risk if we did just keep kind of slowly bleeding out. As again, as you can see, this token fairly new, and this was a very fresh breakout. And on the fresh breakouts, you kind of do the narrow spot positions early on. And then, if you're going to leave the position, generally this bid ask is safer. So, my options are either close out or leave it. I will close it out just for the sake of this, lock in some of that profit, which looks to be around $55. So that is a great win to get back into this. So yeah, definitely not quite as much interest, obviously, when the volume was super high yesterday when I saw a lot of people in here. Okay, so we're doing another fast position in this UFO coin. This is crazy volatile, a lot of volume. It's actually got like 100k per minute. This is around 800k market cap right now. I'm just obviously speaking quick because this thing, as you can see, is very volatile. I'm trying to see actually what my live PNL is, but I will go ahead and close that out right now. Safety, don't have auto approval on this wallet for some reason right now, but basically I don't know, I think it's something to do with UFOs. There is kind of some coin PvP though, which is the thing to keep in mind for this kind of token. And as you can see, yeah, it just started crashing, so I mean I got out just in time. Honestly, no clue why I didn't have auto approval on right now, but as you can see, that was a very lucky exit, to be honest. This coin could bounce back. It's probably the kind of one which could, just due to the nature of the PvP. I actually don't hold any of it. I literally exited on the dot to be in profit, which is okay. If I got out a little bit earlier, I would have done even better. To be honest, I am feeling like gambling, and as I said, I'm not in the main runner. So this is the UFO coin we just saw, and I don't normally do these super degen high volume plays, but you can see, or in the really short time frame, you can see this aliens coin is the other one which is running. This one really hasn't had any drawbacks, so not too much chance to do spot or bid ask. But for some reason on my tracker, I'm not seeing too many people going in it. I actually did a different position to most of the guys I saw on there, but you'd imagine this will have a retracement at some point. But again, it's following a trend. This is a quick play, we're in and out, and sometimes it's very crucial you do have that speed. So I just went ahead and closed that position out. We did come out with a tiny bit of profit, only around looks like around $11. I was getting a bit sketchy because we actually just broke down. I should have exited as soon as we went straight after I bought straight to the top. 0.3 profit if we got there, but I did end up exiting. I was trying to exit right there, but I didn't. But yeah, clearly this token is not winning out versus this, kind of getting, you know, as is always the story, you know, there's a main runner and I was kind of stuck clicking at the other one. I'm going to see if I can play any positions on this or play this one really low market cap for those, but just one-sided spot positions now, no token buying. So the volume seems to be continuing. This is pretty much a continuation from just before. You can see I'm actually in a different coin right now called UAP. And I believe, again, this is also to do with all of these UFO kind of coins. But as you can see, as we saw earlier on the coin that was the UFO, we saw the massive quick red drop on the candle. And we actually saw a similar one on aliens. And that's why I'm going with these bid-ask curves right now. To be honest, from here, I would say you could do a spot position as well. Wouldn't be too bad going for a quick, you know, trying to get a few fees and then closing out with a larger position. But I'm just leaving these because they require a bit less active management, a little less kind of stress on my end. And we've gone with the only pool that's available, which goes to minus 70%. So I just left the default bins. But I do also still have positions in the other ones, such as aliens and the UFO coin. And we've got this Meteora feature where you can literally just expand them, see what your position is like. Both of those are bid-ask. This one's narrower than the UFO one, but this is wider, just due to kind of the risk and volatility with them. And I'll just pull up the Axiom graph so you can see, but you can see that aliens has been trending right down. Luckily, we did only open the position around here, so we can go all the way down to, I believe, down there. And on the UFO coin, you can see it's ranging. You know, it ran back up to 700k. It dropped back down to 300k. Now it's, you know, kind of in the middle. My range is a wider range now, covering from wherever I opened, you know, kind of down to about 150k, just, you know, to be safe. And now, of course, we have the new coin, a lot of volume. You know, of course, looks like it is about to run back up. That's why, even still, if there's only just 3 sold position, I am earning some fees. You know, you can come out with kind of 0.1 profit. But if we did, you know, suffer a much bigger dip, which there is the potential for, I would have been safe and covered for that. So this UAP coins ended up, you know, sending a lot higher. It's currently at what, 1.4 mil, shooting up. You can see a decent amount of volume, not quite as high as some of the others were earlier, but I'm guessing there's not a ton of liquidity up here. But even from that, I just managed to make some fees. So one option is here, as we're shooting up very rapidly. They accidentally cut off there, but I wanted to say, when we are breaking these all-time high, the volume's higher, you can do these narrower spot positions and try and get in and get out very quickly. A lot of people are better at doing this than me, but being able to draw on the charts to set your range, I think is like the killer use case for when you're wanting to do this. And so we would need a bigger dip and a more of a pump to get back in. But this is where these kind of positions thrive. So I'm actually in profit. You can see I've only made 0.58 cents in the Solana fees, but you can see that the token fees are much higher. So if I actually go ahead and withdrew and zapped out right now, I should be, if we, you know, got out as I was just speaking, we should be in a decent amount of profit because we haven't shot through the rest of my range yet. It's taking a little while to close. I want to retry that. So yeah, I do need to clearly up some settings, but that should have been profitable. So I did close out, and one of the things you saw and why I did it was you could see that I had earned, you know, a decent amount of the token fees on the kind of when it dropped down. But it kind of was it still kept dropping, but our bins hadn't moved yet. So once I got that exit, literally just the fees from, if I draw it on, from the dip that was a, you know, few percent here, the fees there were, you know, greater than, instantly put me in profit, as you saw, about 0.4 Solana. So when I did close out, I was in profit. I didn't have to wait for it to pump back up at all, even though we had no sol fees. So it's now the end of this day, and yeah, as we saw, there's been a lot of volume. It looks like right now we're actually up around $300 for most of the trades in this, which is great. I think probably our highest day from this series with the size we've been entering with. Just ending out on a new coin, Goblin Soul. So the reason I entered this, obviously been around for a bit of time. It ran up, I believe, because of some tweets by, I think, ChatGPT. Didn't manage to catch any of this. I just missed it. But I did open on this retracement right here. Went with the bid ask, just covering. All this is a minus 50% range, where the market cap right now is around 4.7 million. But this token, as I said, been around for a while, and I did have a bit of confidence as well. I actually saw a few people with similar strategies in my dashboard. I mean, that's kind of how I saw the coin and decided on this strategy at this point. But I'm going to go ahead and close out right now for about 0.2 SOL profit on this. Probably won't be leaving anything overnight. So for this, I will obviously go ahead and zap out of this, and we should be able to get the final profit. The only other trades I did, which was quite a few, but I, didn't quite catch on video, was the Hantavirus coin. I had the position open, obviously went negative right at the bottom, but we saw a few pumps on the way. Obviously, I opened up around here. My range went all the way down, but we've been ranging, and I exited actually on one of the pumps, which, obviously looking at the current price worked out well. But other than that, the positions were in the UAP coin. I had a small range kind of down at the bottom, made about 0.5 profit on a 5 Solana position, which is obviously very, very good on that. A 10% gain. A bit risky, but I saw this massive red candle and retracement. And obviously when we have already seen that huge drawdown, obviously there's a chance it goes further, but the coin wasn't straight rugging. And as you can see, we have ranged here. So I could have actually kept it open and earned, a bunch more fees. And then closed out kind of my positions in the Alien coin and the UFO coin. But for all of these, I was strictly using bid ask at this point. Again, you missed the run up. I always want to go with the bid ask. Unless we've already dropped down, then I will go over spot position here. Here's the breakdown too. As you can see, $339. Pretty much, well, we should be green on pretty much every pool. I guess that's some of the smaller positions we did. But a ton of wins right here. Pretty much 100% hit rate, I think. Obviously, some very minor losses. But in general, we literally only had like 2 minorly losing positions.